So I this time left at around 3 in the afternoon, with all my stuff packed up, and then I drove to the coast, and I thought maybe I could stay there, but it was all metered, and it's a nice area, so it seemed like it would be actually a pretty dumb place to just have a car out overnight. Anyways, I parked and I went out to the water because I knew there was a path there, because I had been there with my family that summer. And what happened? I made that short little video when I was on the beach. And then I got back in my car and I drove west. No, I drove around that neighborhood a little bit, seeing if, like, the thing is, everyone has driveways there and garages. There's no cars on the street, so I drove all the way out to the border of the Connecticut state border, and there's a little rest stop in Danbury, Connecticut, and there was some snow on the ground, and there was a car with their windows all covered up. Then there's another car. They were also staying the night there, so I was like, fuck it. And it was like there was like a little building with bathrooms and stuff, so it seemed a little bit more legit. And it was really cold, but I had my sleeping bag and my face mask and my hat and my gloves, and I'm pretty sure I even pulled it over my eyes, my hat and my mask. Oh, and I zipped my sleeping bag up all the way. And I think I tucked myself inside of it. And I had a ton of blankets inside my sleeping bag too. And that night I slept in the front seat. And I probably had my foot on the brake the whole night, had my brake lights on. I woke up that morning, and then I drove around. So I got off the highway and I was driving around there's these really nice little neighborhoods there, out in the woods, a lot of like really nice houses, and it's these nice little like 30-mile-per-hour roads. And people were probably going to work, and I was just kind of checking out their little towns. And then I went south. Oh, I must have gone to New York City that day. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I did that pretty early in the morning, because then I drove south into kind of like Harlem area, and I went to a grocery store when I was still in Connecticut, and I bought some broccoli and some grapefruits and something else, maybe water. I don't remember. But I met up with my friend near Columbia, and we split a grapefruit and hung out for a little bit. And then I left Manhattan and I drove to Princeton, and I pulled up to some office building parking lot and brushed my teeth, and then I went back to this Marriott. I stayed in the Marriott lot there, surrounded by cars, and I think I slept in the back seat that night, yeah. Something I did a couple times. And then I woke up and I used their bathroom, brushed my teeth, and they had a bathroom that was like downstairs, like past this dining area, like that was all like hadn't opened yet, but I just went in. And it was fine. I flossed. And then I went to a Panera Bread there and I got like a bagel or something, and it was just like on my computer. There was a little map of Princeton there, and I remembered I went to some like little coffee shop place there once, but I really didn't want to go there again. I just had been there. And I used the bathroom at a bank. It was a little weird because they kind of wait outside there, and I don't remember what I was doing there. Like I had some baking thing I wanted to do also, maybe, I don't remember. And then, yeah, I had no interest in being in Princeton. So then, this day was kind of hectic actually, because I kind of continued south, and I couldn't. Jesus, yeah, it was pretty stressful. Because I guess I had went to one town, and I didn't really want to sleep there. Like, it just seemed kind of sketchy. I couldn't really find a good lot. And then I was out on this island, this called like Ocean something, like this island off of like Virginia. I couldn't figure out what I was doing there. It was pretty, yeah, and then there was like these hotels there, and I didn't want to pay because it was super expensive, and like they had all these signs about staying in lots, like how they check and you can't sleep in the lots. So I was like, alright, this is not the lot to stay in. Then I was looking up like on these crime statistic things, like I found this super safe community, but like there weren't really people parked on the street again, so I was like, alright, well fuck this. I kind of got lost in there. And then I ended up leaving that island, and then I was over some like gas stations and off the highway, and it was like really dark, and these like really big hilly roads, and I don't know, it seemed very sketchy out there. I was in the parking lot of some like Carl's Jr. or something. I think I got some food. And then I was just tired as fuck, and I ended up going back to some motel I had passed before, and I just parked in the back. And then I slept. And I woke up. And someone saw me wake up in my car. It was a little bit awkward. But I drove out of there, and then I feel like I'm getting days confused. No, then this next day, I'm pretty sure this was the day I was driving around Virginia, and it was super beautiful. Like, I think I went. Oh, I drove down into Delaware. Well, I was. Fuck. When was I in Delaware? I'm getting these days confused. Because there's one time I was definitely driving around Virginia and shit, and it got dark and it was nighttime, and I drove all the way out on this island that was supposed to be super safe, but it felt super creepy, so then I left. And then I ended up staying in some other parking lot, I think. And there I felt pretty unsafe for some reason. It was like outside like a Cracker Barrel. But then there was another day, that was like maybe the day after, when I drove into Delaware. Yeah, it must have been, I must have gone to Delaware first and then done that, because, yeah, that must have been it. No, I don't remember. Fuck. Because I remember I drove through Delaware and I was in Dover, sort of, and I called my friend who was from there. And I was gonna go out to the beach, but it seemed far as fuck, so I just kept driving south. And then I drove through Maryland, and I drove across, like, at the tip of that peninsula. There's a road you can take back to the land, just going south, and it goes underwater a couple times. It's like a 2-mile bridge, sort of. That was cool. It was fun going through the tunnels. And then I was just at Virginia Beach, and I went out, and I walked on the beach, and then I got back in my car. And I drove around there, and I parked, and I got back in my car. And that day I maybe drove to Charleston. So the Maryland must have been, when I stayed in Virginia, that must have been before that. Or it happened after. Because I know I hiked that morning after I woke up in Virginia or Maryland. Because there's a little state park around there, or just some, like, state land. It's a little 1-mile trail or something. Um, oh no, I didn't go to Charleston for a while. Fuck, I'm getting all confused. Because then I drove out to, I drove to, I was, I stayed in the actual woods. I drove out into, like, the George Washington Mountains, and this must have been before all that. Fuck, I'm getting all confused. So I drove out west into the mountains, and it's super beautiful there, and I stayed on a an abandoned campground there. That was really nice. I did a couple little short hikes around there. Then I drove back, because I didn't really want to be in nature at that point. It was still cold and shit, and I didn't want that right then. So I went back to the coast, sort of. Well, no, I think actually that next day, I think I stayed at, like, a truck stop on the, like, on the border of, like, North and South Carolina, on the north side. Then I drove into South Carolina, and then of course I went to Charleston, and there I was staying at the Walmart, and at the other Walmart. I maybe stayed one other place there. I maybe stayed in a hotel parking lot one night. I don't remember. But yeah. Um, yeah, I didn't know I was going to talk about this, but yeah, I was like, uh, I don't know. of sketchy. I don't like South Carolina. Anyways, I left eventually. I mean, I probably should just tell these stories. I met this girl, like, I just started talking to this stranger, and she was nice. She was super young. She was like a freshman. And then she, like, I guess, like, gave me, like, I don't know, I was talking to her, and then I was like, her, like, friends started texting me from her phone, and, like, gave me some bullshit address, and then I was, like, knocking on some dude's door, like, in the middle of the night, who, like, thankfully wasn't home, or was too scared to come to the door. And I was, like, driving on the highway, and yeah, it was really stupid. I don't know. That was not a highlight. But then I talked to my friend in the parking lot, like, on Google Chat. It was really nice. It made me feel a lot better. Sorry, I should be talking closer to the mic. So it was probably the next day that I left. I also approached this girl in the library, and I think I really scared her. She was really pretty. Fuck that bitch. I actually stayed at a hotel the next day, some Quality Inn or something, and they gave me the military discount. I don't know why. And I was, like, on Chatterbait, and it's pretty nice. Yeah, shouts out to Io Vale, and then I booked it, and then no, oh man, I'm forgetting so many. So then I went, I drove through. Then I was driving on fucking I-20. That road's so fucking boring. Never take I-20. And I guess I had to go through some of Georgia. I wanted to go to Florida, but I was like, I'll do that another trip. Like, I just want to spend, like, a few, like, months in Florida. Like, there's so much to explore there. I could spend a whole year and just kind of, a few years. And then I was going. I just booked it through, Mississippi, Alabama. I had no interest. And then I got into Louisiana, and I bought some crawfish. And then there was this fucking big ass trash bag in the middle of the road, so I swerved out, and the road is such ass there that, like, I went in this huge pothole and it busted my tire, and my tire actually exploded. I mean, there was a hole in it, like, you could stick your fist through the hole. Literally. Like, I literally did that. And it kind of, my rim got a little bit chipped, but it was alright. I mean, it felt weird because it had teeth poking out, but anyways, I called AAA, and super cool dudes came through. I was trying to, like, tell them where I was, which was tough because, like, I didn't really have much to go off of. I wasn't near any markers, but they got me, they helped me out. Super nice people. And I was gonna have them take me all the way back to, like, Baton Rouge because I knew someone there, but it turned out that guy couldn't really house me that night, or I don't know if he was home or couldn't get in contact with him. But I was out in Fayetteville. Fayetteville, I think it was. Um, so, anyways, they were gonna take me back there, but then they were like, they can just drop me in Fayetteville, and there was a Walmart where they can replace tires and shit at Walmart. I didn't know about that, so they dropped my car at the Walmart, and then they dropped me off at like a little motel there. Those dudes were fucking awesome. Um, one guy was saying how he like wants to travel and shit. I'm like, do it, bro. Anyways, I that motel was kind of sketch, and like I didn't want to pay for it and shit, obviously. So it was kind of goofy because I could have just stayed in my car. Like I was staying in Walmart's anyways, but and it would have been nice there in the back, like it's well lit and but also secluded, and Walmarts are dope. Um, but I ended up actually staying in a hotel again. Oh, I stayed in a parking lot in between this because I stopped one night in Alabama, um, like by the Alabama Louisiana, no, Alabama Mississippi border, and yeah, some big ass hotel. I stayed in the parking lot there. Just kind of whatever. And then I stayed. Yeah, I guess I stayed at the fucking Ramada there, and I like had an Uber. Oh yeah, that was it. I was gonna fucking couch surf that night, and dude was totally cool, gonna help me out, and but then I got there and I couldn't get in touch with him. I was like, fuck this, like another fucking flake. But it turns out like you just gotta refresh that shit on couchsurfing, and I didn't know that. So my dumbass was like thinking he didn't reply, but I just had to hit refresh so I could see what he was actually saying to me. I mean, he was out like when I got there, but still, because I had his actual like door, like his room number. I was like knocking on his door. He was in some apartment complex, but anyways, I had to end up bailing because I didn't know what was going on. He got in touch later, but I had already like paid for my room, I think, or no, I had already paid for another Uber or whatever. I was just done with it at that point. So yeah, so sorry to that dude. But I stayed in my room there, and then I was walking. They like directed me to my room, and I walked through the parking lot to get there, and there was some dude who worked there who was leaving, and this car just pulls up to me in the night, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going to my room." And he's like, "What room are you staying in?" I was like, "Do you work here?" And he was like, "Yeah," and he showed me his name, and I showed him my room. Like they just gave me the piece of paper, and he's like, "Oh, okay." I guess I looked sketchy as fuck. I went to my room there. They gave you tea, which is super nice. Like hotels in America are so nice. Like even the cheapest ones are always like so fucking nice. Um, Expensive as fuck. And so I stayed there. I got my car fixed. So cheap and easy. Like I don't remember how much it was, but they got me a new tire. Um, and obviously took the old one off. And I was kind of like I was kind of like hanging around the garage, like checking out what they were doing, but they were like, you gotta stand outside. I'm like, okay. Um, so that was dope. And then I probably bought some stuff there. No, I think I went to some other place to get food for some reason. Um, and oh, I guess yeah, I was eating a lot of like PB&J sandwiches. I was making a lot of the like chunky soups from the Walmarts. That was mostly what I ate. I'd have one of those soups at night, and eat those sandwiches, and then occasionally like go to Carl's Jr. Um, get the for real deal. Shouts out to the Carl's Jr. for real deal. Um, and I'd maybe also like load up on like tomatoes and bananas and like peanuts and those like sweet and salty bars. I was eating gummy vitamins and like trail mix, and occasionally buy like jerky or like some other like hot Cheetos, not Cheetos, Cheez-Its. Um, and yeah, and then oh, and then I got the fucking sweet tea there. Oh my god, yo, that shit is unreal. That was amazing. Oh my god. Highlight of my life. I've only seen it there. They don't have that shit in Texas. But in Louisiana you can get sweet tea decaf. Um, and you get it in a gallon. Anywhere else, if you're getting it, it's gonna be caffeinated, or you can get it like unsweetened. Just like, what's the fucking point? But they actually had decaf sweet tea there with just as much sugar. That was incredible. And then that day I had my car fixed. I was talking to someone at a smaller garage about the wheel. I was just like, hey, just a quick question. Just want another set of eyes on this. And he got down on the ground and was looking at it. I was showing him how the teeth were poking out, like, not teeth, but how like my wheel just got my rim got grinded up, so it was poking out, like thought it might pop the new tire. And he was like, like, you don't want to start banging on a rim because you're gonna bend it or you're gonna break it, and thought I'd be just fine. I was like, thank you so much, dude. Then I continued out to Texas, which I should say that was what anyways, I I made it to Houston. I got some tacos and met up with my buddy there, and he let me crash with him, which was super cool. I'd crashed with him before for like a long ass time also. So shouts out to him. Um, very thankful. And yeah, we hung out and got some more food, and then we're just chilling at his house. And I charged my shit and slept and woke up and drove. Oh, I went to the bookstore there, to the fucking what the fuck's it called? There's like a famous ass bookstore in Texas. I went to that one. There's a bunch of them. They sell used books. And then you can return your used book there and get another book. Well, I mean, they just give you some money back if you return your book. And then I drove south to, like, I didn't go to Galveston, but I drove out to fuck, what's it called? Freeport, Texas or something. I was like bumming around there, and that was maybe where I stayed on the beach there, like right by there. There was a little. I had a little video of that. Oh, it was a super nice beach because the beaches are like they're roads in Texas legally. Like you can drive on the beach and you have to obey traffic laws and shit. Um, so I stayed out there like super isolated, like so fucking nice, like to like hear the water going to sleep and then like wake up and see it. And I swam in the morning and still have my sweet tea and shit. Just getting like sand in my car and cold as fuck, but it was nice. I should have stayed there, man. Why the fuck did I leave? Anyways, I kept going south, and then there's like a little ghost town, and it's called Magnolia Beach, I think. And there's like a big ass RV community there. If you live in an RV, I mean, you probably already know this if you live in an RV, but you can stay there like year round for free, which is really fucking dope. And they even have like little bathrooms there too and shit. Um, that was cool as fuck. And I was just there in my little sedan, pulled up next to some RV. Probably freaked them out a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they don't give a shit. That beach is not nearly as nice as that first one though. It's kind of rocky and shit. But it was cool. I was at the beach again. Then I kept going down and I was on like South Padre Island, I think. I was just going along the coast and there I almost got fucked. I drove out onto the island and I was just using free campsites this whole time to find all these spots and I drove out on this one beach and my car could not do it at all. I'm driving a fucking like two-wheel drive low clearance vehicle, so my dumbass thought I could do it. I almost got really fucked there, but I was able to back out and go forward and back, whip it around, get the fuck out of there. I filled out the whole like like this. They have you fill out these little forms, and then you put on them on your dashboard and say like when you're sleeping there, or like when your car is gonna be there. And I filled out the whole thing, and then I realized I couldn't stay there. I had my little ticket in their box, but I had to leave. So then there's on the other side of the island, you can stay there, and you gotta pay like $5 or something. It's kind of bullshit, but I needed a place. So I stayed there, and you're just on pavement there. And then you got the sand and the ocean. So I stayed there in between two big ass RVs. I have my little spot. So that was kind of nice. They're kind of making some noise, but then they quieted down. And I was still, I think, just sleeping in my driver's seat the whole time. Still having my foot on the brake light, probably. Then that next day, I drove all the way down to Brownsville. I almost drove into Mexico by accident, actually. I got really, I made that last turn, and I didn't realize that was the last turn. I thought there was one more, but I turned off and I got some tacos. It's so dope. They only speak Spanish there. That was so awesome. Like, no, he spoke a little English, but it's really cool for me, because most places in America you're not going to find that, so that was really fun. I got some food, and then I drove up to McAllen, which is another border town. I stayed in, I think, the Walmart there. I think there was a Walmart in McAllen. And I met some kid there. He was like skateboarding. I was playing guitar, and he was kind of looking at me. And then he wanted to play my guitar, and I let him play my guitar. And then he needed a ride, and I gave dude a ride home. You know, just some punk kid. And he wanted to like, what do you want to do? He wanted to give me some money or something. I'm like, no, dude, it's like it's all good. Um, he had an interesting story. I don't know if I should share that, but then and then I stayed another night there. I stayed in a hotel parking lot, some nice hotel, not a chain one, some weird one. And I was in the back seat. And then I went back to like the main road, or for the first time really, to that like big ass north-south road, and drove up into Austin. That's where I made those goofy videos. I drove right past. I didn't go to Austin at all that day. I kept missing exits, and then I ended up going to Marble Falls. And that was the first place I really crashed for like a minute, because I would stay in Marble Falls fucking like 10 days. On this little campground there. I got there and it was super nice, like just a bunch of land, and there's a river, and dude was flying his like little plane, like one of those tiny ass planes, like a Wrights brother plane, like we'd fly it super low, and there was like wild feral hogs there, and like some bum ass fucking, oh, I don't know. There was just some people yelling out, "They're hogs, get them!" You know. Some homeless people, and they had a little bathroom there. I didn't really know where to stay the first night, so I freaked out some dudes. I was like pulled up to him. It was like 7 o'clock, but it's like dark as fuck. And I was like, "Do you know where you stay?" And he's like, "Yeah, you just pull up wherever." I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." So I pulled up. Then I was going into Austin every day. I mean, I went into Austin, and then I went to a kava bar there and drank a ton of kava, and there was this band. They were cool, and I was like talking to them, and they were going out, and I was tired as fuck and bitched out. I was like, "No, I gotta sleep. This girl was really cute. Like, gotta go to sleep." So that was weird. And then, oh shit, I totally forgot about this. So in Austin, they have this pool that's fed by natural hot springs there. It's not like hot, but it's like you can swim in this water. And the pool, there was some what happens is like it gets filled with debris and shit, like it gets dirty, and they had to like drain out the whole pool. But then like downriver from the pool, like people just swim in the water there, and some people say it's like nasty as fuck. There's like giardia and whatever. Um, but I was, like fuck it, and I was swimming in this water. I met a dude from Boston, and then there's this girl, and I noticed her like a million times in my life. I noticed some girl, and I'm like, oh yeah, like she's a hot girl. Um, and she was watching me swim, and I like noticed she was like looking at me, and then I was just hanging out on the rocks there, and then like her dog came up to me, and I was like, "Hey," and then I like looked up, it was her, and she had the sun like right behind her head, so like I couldn't really look at her. And we were kind of chatting, and I told her how I was kind of just, like here, like just kind of like bumming around doing my own thing, and she seemed like she also was in, I don't know what her deal was. She was from Waco or something, and like was there with her friends for like the day and was going back, but then was going to be back in Austin or something, and I don't know what happened, but she like gave me her number. Like she wasn't even like, she was like, yeah, we should like, if you're gonna be around, like we should hang out. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. So that was really cool. And then what happened with that? We were gonna hang out, and then she didn't respond, and then she told me like, she was like I had to move or something. It's like, okay. And I was, it was such an extreme thing to say that it almost didn't seem like it was bullshit. Especially because she seemed like interested in me, and like I wasn't even approaching her, and but I could still understand if she got nervous about actually like meeting up with the stranger. But then she like updated me or something, telling me about her life. And then we fell out of contact. I don't remember what happened. Um, but anyways, there's also this temple in Marble Falls. Um, I forget what it was called, but it was a Thai Buddhist temple. Um, and that was super cool. I just showed up there, and there was a guy there, and he like it was really amazing. This place. He was really scared, I think. I mean, he just didn't know what I was doing there, but he was super nice. He was probably Thai, and he said that I could like look around the temple, take pictures, whatever. Um, you know, and that was cool. I didn't really sit. I just kind of like checked it out, and it was just like a real Thai temple in Thailand. And it was really crazy because it's like you go with the campground I was staying was like on these like hilly roads, and then if you just pull off on some like small dirt road, and then there's like a few people living there, and then you pull like onto some other dirt road, and then you just see these like big ass dragons, and then you go up this super steep slope, and then it's like this really well maintained garden and like this beautiful temple. It's like in the middle of Marble Falls. That was crazy. I just saw a temple on my map. That's how I found it. So yeah, I did some hikes around Marble Falls. I would say this story chronologically, but I just fucking forget, you know. Um, but I would go out on a trail and kind of get lost and find my way back. Um, I went to there's a little park in Austin, which is nice. There's the Mellow Johnny's, the bike shop there. You can take a shower there for $1. That was super nice to take another shower. I took a shower at my friend's house in Houston, and then at those hotels. But other than that, I hadn't really showered ever. No, I took one at the beach in Charleston. No, was that Charleston? Where the fuck was that? What the fuck? Where was that? I think that was Charleston. Yeah, that was definitely Charleston. I mean, I don't think it's technically Charleston, but you could go to the beach there. I forget what it's called. It's a really nice beach. But I showered at those outdoor showers there. And I was watching like Chatterbait in my car, in the parking lot there. Anyways, Austin was nice. And it was nice to swim. And there was nice hikes around Marble Falls. When I first pulled up there, I know, I'm so sorry I'm telling this all out of order, but I just remember I was listening to the FM radio, and there's this channel, and they had this tune by not Johann Sebastian Bach, but by his brother, J.B. Bach, I think was his name. Not J.S. Bach. It's like Johann Bernhard Bach or something like that. And it was so nice because I was going on there were these super hilly roads where, you know, I was going like super fast, and so then you'd like really feel those dips when you like are going downhill, and then it's suddenly a steep uphill. And it was so much fun. I was listening to this like crazy classical music, and it was pitch black, and I didn't know where I was. It was just like, because something got messed up with the like GPS. Then I don't know if I took no, some road was blocked off or something like that, or they just changed the directions. I don't know. I took a very strange way to get there, but that was so much fun. It was nice to pull up there, ultimately. Then I was talking with some homeless people there, and they told me about this other spot that was also on free camping. And then I went up there to Taos, Texas. I stayed there. Nice little lake spot. And then I did stay in Austin one night, I think, at a parking lot there. I think I did. Maybe I was just considering doing that. I think I did. I think my first night or something. My second night? Like, I stayed at the campground, then I stayed in Texas. In Austin, then I stayed back at the campground. That sounds about right. But I don't remember which hotel it is, what I was really doing there. I'm getting exhausted. What happened? Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna maybe end this now, and I'll make a second video, like immediately right now, to talk about what happened next.